Hello, everyone, and happy 4th of July. It's your Travel Tales host, Aislinn Green, and this week we are taking a holiday break to share one of our favorite episodes. Comedian Michelle Buteau, who got stood up in Paris and learned something very important about friendship along the way. Enjoy.
So my trip to Paris doesn't start in Paris. I met one of my best friends, Cynthia, in Miami in college, and we became fast friends. We were both in a TV production class where we were the only two girls in a sea of boys, and all those boys wore a lot of black t-shirts and just wanted to be like the next Spielberg. Boring, basic. And Cynthia and I, we just wanted to produce fun content and be cute and popular. And so right away, I was like, wow, we gonna be good friends. P.S. We're still friends to this day, by the way. We both had jobs while we were going to school. I worked at the mall in retail, and she worked at a bank. It's very important to have friends in your life that are good at math and have all the red lollipops. So when Cynthia and I got our first income tax check, we were like, we should take a trip. And we went to Cancun. That's right, honey. We spent our whole check and stayed at one hotel that was all-inclusive. And I'm just like, we have these pink bracelets and we get to eat eggs and drink tequila. This is how real women do stuff. We were 19. But I'm like, this is how I want to do things all the time. So we decided, you know what? We're going to take trips. We're going to be those. We're going to see the world. We're going to wear the same cool pair of Levi's button-down jeans and go to all the little vintage shops and buy shirts that smell like 1967 and rent a bike and just do our thing. That's right. We look like two little Lisa Bonets and Lenny Kravitz. I was the Lenny Kravitz because I have the broader shoulders. Our next trip, we went to Spain. And you know what? That was an interesting trip for me because I didn't really feel connected to the people of Spain. They sort of looked at me like, what in the Washington Heights is going on? Truly, I'd walk down the street and people's faces looked at me and I could see their faces thinking like, what is this big titty Puerto Rican American that doesn't even speak Spanish doing here? I mean, yes, I have big titties. No, I'm not Puerto Rican. Yes, I do look Puerto Rican because I'm light-skinned. Why? Because of colonialism. What, is that too soon? Sorry, Spain. Okay, look. I should have learned some Spanish, some basic Spanish before I went there, but they don't even really speak Spanish. They speak Catalan, right? So it wouldn't even matter. Okay, it would matter because I do love orange juice, and naranja is really hard to say when you're hungover. But Cynthia speaks fluent Spanish, so it was really fun to be with her. Did I mention that she had the red lollipops? And I will say, Cynthia and I felt very exotic. I mean, we would get every nationality except for the ones that we actually are, but we just went with it. And we were just hooking up with boys left and right, writing poetry, going to parks, kicking balls, playing flutes, doing all this stuff, having mate tea out of like a weird teeny tiny coconut with a metal straw that tasted like tuberculosis. How do they drink that stuff? Finally, we were cute and popular. One night, we met these French guys in Spain. You know, they're cool and laid back and dirty, but not too dirty. You know, just a dollop of dirty. A dollop of do ya, you know? Like, they definitely haven't washed your jeans in a while, but you know they look like they definitely had a home with a bed that had sheets on it. My guy, Pierre, was taller and had dark hair, and he sort of looked like Joaquin Phoenix and Leo DiCaprio had a baby, but also an Indian mom. I don't know. Is that what gypsies look like? I can't describe it any other way because he also had like these piercing green eyes and very olive skin. He kind of looked like that chick on the cover of National Geographic. You get it. I want to say his name was Pierre. I can't really remember. I want to say Cynthia's dude was Etienne. Again, did I just watch The Beach? I did. It's a nice French name, what can I say? But back to Pierre. He was so skinny, he looked like he was cold all the time, and my body was a Tempur-Pedic mattress he was ready to lay on. He had a very big Adam's apple, but I didn't even know that because he had a scarf around it all the time. And I remember when he took that scarf off and I saw that Adam's apple, I said, oh, I feel tempted. This is some First Testament. Is my name Eve? And I just remember looking up and seeing his Adam's apple, and every time he swallowed, it moved. I was like, this is so adult. Pierre and Etienne became our vacation boyfriends that week. We'd hold hands and ride bikes and whisper sweet nothings into each other's ear, and Pierre definitely needed to clean his ears. When we were getting ready to leave, we realized that we were going to miss each other. We're like, we have to see each other again, you know? This could be true love. And this was before MySpace and Facebook, so truly the only way to stay in touch with someone was by writing a letter and then strapping that letter to a pigeon or a three-eyed raven. Those were your choices. And so when Cynthia and I came back from Spain, we just looked at each other and we're like, are those our French boyfriends? Are we going to have French citizenship? Are we going to move to Paris and figure out how to make bread and just, ride the metro with a little baguette under our arms? Like, who are we going to be? Am I going to be the big titty Amelie? Maybe. During that semester, we couldn't stop thinking about them. And mind you, I can't even really remember their names right now. I'm sure it's Pierre and Etienne. Why wouldn't it be? But I realize now you always have a vacation version of yourself when you meet someone, But I didn't know that back then. I really thought these guys were our Prince Charming. They would always get the next round and, oh my God, just again whisper these French nothings in my ear. And they were probably saying like, I just ordered a beer. I have to go to the bathroom. I don't know what they were saying. All I know is that it sounded very good. And so Cynthia and I became pen pals with Pierre and Etienne. Cynthia and I actually wrote them in French. We would try to figure out what to say together. And I mean, imagine crafting a whole letter to somebody that you've met for like 5 days in another country. It was really hard work. And then Cynthia and I would walk that letter to the post office, wait in line to buy stamps because there's no machine to buy stamps from. I mean, this was an old school kind of love. This was our Bronx tale. Pierre and Etienne would write us back, and they always said the perfect things. If we missed them, they missed us more. If we were thinking about them, they were thinking about us all the time. And then finally, Pierre, whatever his name was like, do you and Cynthia want to come see us? We have to see each other again. My heart can't go on. I was like, what in the Titanic is going on? And I looked at Cynthia. I'm like, we have no money. How are we going to get to Paris? What should we do? And then she looked at me and she's like, oh, we got to get money. So like I said, Cynthia and I were going to school for TV production, and a lot of people would check cameras out and other equipment to shoot stuff for homework. But we would take our cameras out and shoot little videos for little Argentinian bands or Haitian rappers in South Beach. And we would put together a video and present it as homework, but also sell the video, so we made money. We had our own little low-budget production company called De Leon Productions. That's right, honey. We found the money to go to Paris. We were like Jennifer Lopez in The Hustler, but without the six-pack and the pole. So now that we have the money, we have to buy a ticket to go to Paris. And mind you, Paris was way more expensive than Spain for whatever reason. And I knew early on that I could not do a connecting flight. Like, I cannot be traveling for 27 hours, okay? Because I'm going to be like James Franco in that movie and cut my arm off and start eating it. So I went to a travel company, like a whole actual place that has paper tickets and brochures. I know this sounds like 1972, but just go with me because I age well. And I talked to a travel agent, I think her name was Esther, for way too long. She was so sweet, and she had all these little white dogs that would sit on her lap. Esther explained to me that I could get a flight on Air India to Paris for like $200 or $300, because what they do is they stop to fuel the plane in Paris and then keep it going to, I don't know, somewhere in India. Keep up. And I was like, you know what, Esther? I'm going to do it. Finally, it's our big day to Paris, and we board Air India. And how can I describe Air India? It wasn't exactly like Slumdog Millionaire, but it wasn't exactly not like it either. I had a feeling that Cynthia and I were the only ones actually going somewhere, and everyone else was just going home, Which was cool, man. I'm cool. Everybody was beautiful. The colors were popping. I mean, everyone was from like Southeast India, I believe. I don't know. I asked. There were a lot of fun spices. I think I woke up at one point and a really cute old Indian grandmother who could have been like 29 or 99 had her feet nestled under my thigh. But I was like, girl, no. But then it felt like good luck. So I was like, okay, girl, yes. We got lots of food and drinks, maybe every hour, maybe every 30 minutes. I don't know. Nobody sat down for takeoff or landing, and I watched a Bollywood movie the whole flight, and it never ended, and the flight was 7 hours. Confusing. At one point, I looked at Cynthia, I was like, we're going to Paris, right? Because, the first time you go to Paris with your friend, you're thinking, ooh, everyone's going to have a beret and a striped shirt on the plane, and we're going to talk about croissants and baguettes and going to the Louvre and the Jardin and probably taking a in a hole in the ground. Real Parisian stuff. But it wasn't that at all, Cynthia and I just shared our mango lassi and cheers, and it's like, well, we're going to Paris for some dirty. So we land in Paris and we get to our hostel, which now I'm realizing why they call them hostels, because you feel hostile, It looked like an episode of Orange is the New Black. I'm like, are these rooms because you're punishing me? What is going on? We had to upgrade to have our own toilet. But mind you, there was no sink, just a toilet. So that was fun. So Cynthia and I unpacked. We found some naranja in Paris, and we got this really long phone number on a piece of paper from the boys, and we could not wait to call Pierre and Etienne. The phone number must have been like 17 digits. I'm like, is this a phone number, or are we like unlocking a vault at a bank? Confusing. We tried to call them on a public payphone. Wouldn't go through. We tried another phone. Wouldn't go through. We spent our first afternoon in Paris just going to public payphones. I don't know if it was sad or inspiring. It felt like we were in the Amazing Race, but we were getting nowhere. Finally, we asked our hostel manager, who definitely looked like she was the French version of Four Non-Blondes, just dreads everywhere, black clothes, black socks, black nails. She was probably a vampire. I'm for sure certain that she wanted to drink my blood. I said, can you please help me call Etienne and Pierre? And she was like, cool, let's do it. And she called them and we got through, and it was amazing. It was like we won bingo at drag bingo night, The boys answered the phone. They were so excited to hear us. We were so excited to hear them. They're like, hello, ça va? How was the flight? How are you doing? We cannot wait to see you. And we're like, yeah, dude, the same, man. Cool. Did you know they don't have tequila in Paris? But whatever. This red wine is really hot. We have purple lips. Let's hook up. And they said, absolutely, we cannot wait to see you guys. We missed you so much. Meet us in front of the Eiffel Tower tomorrow at 12 p.m. And we were like, oh my God, the Eiffel Tower. Is this going to be a rose ceremony? We couldn't wait. So the next day, Cynthia and I were so excited to meet Pierre and Etienne at the Eiffel Tower. We wore our best, shortest dress we found in a Miami mall, red lipstick, because nothing says you like a boy than red lipstick on your teeth. No big deal. We go to the Eiffel Tower and we wait in front and just look around nervously for about 30 minutes, and then an hour, and then 2 hours. We got a little hungry, so we went to go get a hamburger and come back, McDonald's, because that's what you do when you're American in your 20s in Paris. You go to McDonald's, I mean, the burgers did taste more French. We waited some more, and then we got an ice cream cone and came back. Then we went through a whole roller coaster of emotions after 3 hours. And these moments were way too real. We were like, okay, they're late. That's really rude. All right. Then we were like, wow, they're not here. Do you think they're coming? Oh my God. Do you think they're coming though? And then it turned into, are they okay? I hope they're okay. I hope nothing happened, because something could have happened to them. And then the sun went down and it was nighttime, and we had been there all day. And we just looked at each other and we're like, I don't think they're coming at all. Like, we still think that they're not coming. They're definitely not coming, Michelle and Cynthia. And so Cynthia and I decided to go to a bar around the corner from the Eiffel Tower, and we got really drunk on red wine, had purple teeth and purple lips, and ended up making out with some other French dudes. And then the next day we tried to call them again, and they answer their phone. And Etienne and Pierre are just like, oh, I'm so sorry, we did not come. Honestly, we did not even plan on coming. We did not know that you would come to France. That's kind of weird. Etienne's girlfriend is pregnant, and my mother would not let me go to Paris. And then Cynthia and I just looked at each other like, y'all got somebody knocked up? So you live with your mom? I thought you had a roommate. The roommate's your mom? We looked at each other like, did we just pick these dudes that are like basically the French Maury Povich episode? I mean, they live on the outskirts of Paris, right? But I didn't know they had to take multiple trains to get in. I mean, we just flew over an ocean and y'all can't just make it work with like a handful of trains? Cynthia and I just had a whole come to Jesus moment. This was our fried green tomatoes moment. This was the end of The Color Purple. We looked at each other and we were like, wow, we flew across the ocean to try and meet up with losers. We had to take that in because, yeah, we did that. And it was at that time, Cynthia and I made a little pact. For sure, we can't stop traveling. We're too good at it. We're fun. We're adventurous. People want to give us free drinks. We have to keep going. But we're going to be better at making decisions, especially when tipsy. Never again will we make a trip to meet a boy. Okay? We don't go somewhere to meet a boy. We take a trip and then we meet a boy. Yeah. And we also said that our husbands have to be friends so they can go on trips with us. And you know what? Cynthia and I are both married now, and we both have 2 kids. And our husbands are both white and aloof, and they're friendly with each other, so I guess we kind of did it. I love Paris. I do. I really do. I've done stand-up there. I've visited France multiple times with my family and my husband, and I have really great memories there. But every time I take that little boat past the Eiffel Tower, I just look at that dumb tower and I'm like, that's right. That's where I got stood up. For a skinny boy with a big Adam's apple.
That was Michelle Buteau. We'll link to her website, book, and TV show in the show notes. And next week, we'll be back with our regularly scheduled programming. Ready for more travel tales? Visit afar.com/podcast and be sure to follow us on Instagram and X. We're at Afar Media. If you enjoyed today's exploration, I hope you'll come back for more great stories. Subscribing makes this so easy. You can find Travel Tales by Afar on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. And be sure to rate and review the show. It helps other travelers find it. This has been Travel Tales, a production of Afar Media. The podcast is produced by Aislinn Green and Nikki Galtaland. Music composed and produced by Strike Audio. Everyone has a travel tale. What's yours?